Welcome to Random Game Reviews. Thanks so much for joining me. This is my very first episode, and I am so excited to bring you all of the best, the worst, and the mediumest of what video games have to offer. I have absolutely no say over what games will be reviewed on this channel. I have painstakingly created an Excel spreadsheet with every single game in the PlayStation Store on it, and I will let my good friend random.org decide for me which game I will review each week. So without further ado, let's see what Fate has in store for us this week. This week, Fate has decided that we will play Woodle Tree Adventures Deluxe. Woodle Tree Adventures Deluxe isn't what I'd describe as a particularly deep game. In this platformer, you play as the titular hero Woodle, a sentient stump who must traverse various levels to collect fairy tears. I was unclear as to why I had to do this because the entire story is explained in a single sentence at the beginning and I missed the explanation before being flung into what I will charitably call action. Woodle has 3 abilities at his disposal. He can jump, he can give bad guys a little whap with his leaf, murdering them instantly, and he can run, which is more of a liability than a help when faced with this game's 2 main enemies, the level design and the camera. This deluxe tree adventure is all about jumping between platforms and collecting berries and fairy tears. 3 fairy tears must be collected to complete every level, so there's incentive there, but most of your efforts will be centered on collecting the berries that are strewn about every level. If you collect enough berries, you will unlock upgrades to your leaf, bonus levels, and a stylish bandana for Woodle to wear. However, all of these unlockables feel fairly hollow. While there is combat in the game, there really doesn't need to be. Most enemy types either stand in place minding their own business or walk a set path, meaning you can just walk around them. Even the one enemy type that follows you around can be fairly easily avoided. Engaging these creatures in combat feels largely unnecessary and kinda makes Woodle look like a dick, since they're just hanging out minding their own business. For that reason, upgrading your leaf to have a range attack doesn't really enhance the gameplay. And I don't say this to be mean, but I wasn't having enough fun playing this game that I was excited to unlock bonus levels. Since there isn't enough variety in gameplay to make the levels stand out from one another, I really felt like the bonus levels were more of a chore than anything. It's like entering a porridge eating contest where the prize for winning is a bowl of porridge. So while there are ample berries to collect, I mainly felt compelled to collect them because my understanding of game design created an overwhelming sense of obligation to do so. What Woodle Tree Adventures boils down to is just jumping and walking through the levels until it's over. The controls don't feel overly tight, and the level design is not clever enough that I felt particularly thrilled at any point. But I very much did not want to fall off the stage, because the respawns can put you pretty far back, which becomes especially frustrating during some of the more poorly designed sections. I found most of my failures stemmed from the fact that this game does not allow you control over the camera aside from zooming in or out. I spent the majority of my time with this game just dicking around, and I still finished everything in an hour and a half. I'm sure a dedicated speedrunner could finish in a few minutes. Post your fastest time in the comments. The world of Woodle Tree Adventures Deluxe is bright, happy, colorful, and fundamentally uninteresting. There are variations to the biomes in each level inspired by the 6 platformer elements: earth, water, wood, snow, beach, and honeycomb. But aside from some surface cosmetics, there's not a whole lot of difference in the design level to level. The levels are landmasses made of inexplicably floating geometric shapes with rounded edges that give everything an inflatable pool toy look. The layouts of each level feel fairly random, with not a lot of the reasoning or creativity required to make it fun to progress through the game. Even the monster design lacks intention. You've got snowballs wearing dunce caps, sugar cubes with pants, a kidney moose hybrid, rocks with bad hair, lima bean monsters, pimp walking Melba toast, bees, this guy. All in all, this game looks like the final project in a community college video game making course that got a B-. And to be fair, that may not be far off the mark. As far as I can tell, this game is a first effort from an indie game maker who has become noticeably more talented over time. If you look up Chubby Pixel's Suicide Guy games, or even just the sequel to Woodle, it's clear that Woodle Tree Adventures Deluxe is the earliest and weakest entry in this developer's catalog, and probably the most skippable. One thing I really do like is Woodle himself. There's an elegance and simplicity to the character design that made me really want to like this game. Woodle's got this cute little face with these little twig arms and legs coming out of his stump body. It just works. If he were starring in a more interesting game, Woodle could have some real mascot power, and I would like to see him added to the Smash Bros roster. Hashtag Woodle for Smash. I'm not interested in giving games a number value like 2 out of 5 or 88.3 out of 100, because games, like all art, are subjective. I'm just here to answer one question. Would I play this game if I were not destined to do so? And for Woodle Tree Adventures Deluxe, I have to say no. Without rehashing what I've already gone over, this is a very mediocre, possibly bad game, and who has time for mediocrity? I think Woodle himself is great though, and if you want to jump into the Woodle extended universe, you'd probably be better off playing Woodle Tree Adventures 2 Deluxe, which looks like an infinitely more polished game. Thanks so much for watching. Please join me next week when I see what game Fate has in store on Random Game Reviews. Oh, and give that subscribe button a little whap with your leaf. Yeah, that's using your Woodle.